Hi, I'm Michael, and this is California. And every year, this time of year, around taxes, we get inundated with folks who are looking for how to get their Form 1095, because this form is very important when you file your taxes, because it shows if you had health insurance, how long you had health insurance for, and if you got assistance through a health exchange, how much assistance you got. Furthermore, it's really important because it allows your tax person to create a Form 8962, which IRS will definitely ask for if you had health insurance through an exchange, as well as if you live in a state where there is a tax penalty like California or Massachusetts for not having health insurance. It'll be your proof that you had health insurance so you don't get the fine of up to $695 per year. So today we're going to talk about tax form 1095A, B, and C, when you should get it, what it's supposed to do, and how you can get it if you did not automatically receive it in the mail. Now, before we do that, if you like this information, if you find it interesting, you find it useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. So let's talk about what is Form 1095. So it's a really important form because it deals with your health insurance, and it's really necessary for your tax person to have in order to complete your taxes. So what the form does is it first of all tells if you had health insurance or not, as well as how long you had health insurance, and if you got health insurance through an exchange, what amount of subsidy or assistance did you get, and then finally, if you had health insurance offered to you or not. Additionally, the form is used to create another form called 8962, which is the justification of whether you got too much or too little assistance through the exchange. So if you got too much health insurance assistance, then you might have to pay some of that back. If you got too little, you might actually get more back on your return. And then finally, for folks who live in states like California, there is still a tax penalty here in California for folks who go more than 3 months without health insurance. That tax penalty is $695 per person per year. That's the minimum for someone who doesn't have health insurance throughout the entirety of the year. So when you have the Form 1095, it'll be a verification that you had your health insurance throughout the year so you can avoid the tax penalty. Also, if your tax person tries to submit your taxes without the 1095 form, it could mean that the IRS could reject them or later on come back and ask for that form just to make sure that your taxes are complete. So needless to say, it's a super important form. So in reality, there are actually 3 types of 1095 forms. The first one is a 1095A, and that is specifically for folks who got health insurance through an exchange. So like Covered California or healthcare.gov or Obamacare, or actually they have a lot of different names based on which state you are in. And what the form does is it indicates how long you had health insurance, what health insurance you had, and how much subsidy you got throughout the year for your health insurance, which is used at the end by your tax person to justify whether you need to pay some money back or you actually get money paid back to you on that Form 8962. So that is the first one. The second one is a 1095B, and this form is for folks who are getting health insurance through a government entity. So like Medicaid or Medi-Cal or the VA or Medicare will all have a 1095B form that is generated. Now the last one is the most common one, which is a 1095C, because a majority of people in America get their health insurance through their employer. So a 1095C form is something that your employer will fill out, and it will indicate how many months you had health insurance, what insurance you had, and who was covered. Now, one aspect unique to the 1095C is it will also mark off if you were offered health insurance but declined or not. So even if you didn't get health insurance through your work, the Form 1095C will actually indicate whether you declined it or not, but that they offered to you and for what months you had it offered to you. All right, so let's talk about when and how you're supposed to receive your 1095 form. And usually it gets sent out in January when everyone starts preparing to file their taxes. And it really depends on where you're getting your health insurance from. So if you're getting your health insurance through your work, you should be getting a 1095C form, which you can request either from your benefits administrator or from your work or from the health insurance company that's providing the health insurance through your work. Additionally, if you have a 1095B, it means you're getting your health insurance through a government entity, so like Medicaid or Medi-Cal or Medicare or VA benefits, and you can reach out to them and they'll be able to resend you that 1095B form as well. Now, things get a little tricky when you're looking at a 1095A, and this is for folks who get their health insurance through a health exchange, like Covered California or healthcare.gov or whatever they call it in the state that you are in. And it gets a little tricky because it's supposed to be sent out in January, but if it's not, then it means you have to call in and you have to request it from the exchange. But they have to usually take up to 45 days to get it sent out to you. So if you're up against the deadline to get that form in order to file your taxes, it's usually not a practical way of getting it. But luckily, there are a couple other ways you can get your 1095-A form. The first one is if you have access to a computer and you have access to your healthcare.gov or your Covered California site, you can actually just log in and download it and print it off. And that one's pretty easy. If you don't have access to it, or you don't have access to a computer, or you're not really comfortable with a computer, here in California specifically, there are enrollment entities like us here at California who can help you out 100% for free, print off those documents. And so you would just simply call us, delegate us as someone that can help you out. Again, it is free. And then we can get the form and we can either email it to you, we can fax it to you, or for us specifically, you can come by one of our storefronts and we'll be happy to print it off and give it to you in person. Now, additionally, if the form is incorrect, then we can also help you fill out the appeal form to ensure that you get the right amount of money that's on the account, as well as how long you had on your 1095-A. That way you don't end up paying too much or too little, or get the tax penalty here in California. Thank you so much for watching our video, and I hope that you found it interesting or helpful, or at least useful. And if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. Also, if you have any comments or any questions, leave those down below. We love to see your comments and questions, and we'll be happy to make a new post or a new video as soon as we can about those comments and questions. Now, finally, we here at California, we know health insurance. So whether it's private health insurance or Covered California or Medicare or Medicaid or Medi-Cal or even health insurance for a small group, we know health insurance for folks here in California. And if you are here in California, our services are 100% free. And I know it can be very confusing sometimes if you're losing your work insurance, you have to go to private health insurance, or if you're turning 65 and you're trying to figure out what are your Medicare options, we can walk you through that whole process and help you figure out which plan best fits your needs as well as your budget. So if you have questions about that, obviously leave that down below and we'll be happy to help you out that way as well. Now, other than that, I am Michael and this is California, wishing you a happy, healthy day.